Yeah, no.
Perfect. All right, it's been working good, working good. Audio, boom, boom, boom. How's it going? Hope everybody can hear me all right. Just wait for a few more people to come on. I'm a little early. Brian, how are you? What a beautiful night tonight, huh, guys? Oh, my gosh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm trying to get the glare out of the screen here. Sorry about that. I'm working with a new light, trying to figure out which way to angle it and all that. So, works out good. Hope everybody can hear me. You guys hear me all right? Thumbs up. What a great day. Man, all right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, did you guys have a moment to check out that video I did in the comparison between the KE 125 and the KE 175? Are they not almost the same bike or what? Man, what a beautiful bike. Beautiful bikes. Beautiful bikes. I love the Japanese bikes. I'll tell you, there's nothing better than a Japanese bike. Honestly, they're an art. Especially two strokes. I'm a two stroke guy, not talking about the Honda Magnas or anything like that or my Virago. I'm talking about the two stroke bikes. Those things are awesome. It has been an incredible week. I got a Honda Elsinore 250 MT250, great bike. It needs a lot of work, and every time I look at this bike, it needs more work. So I'm looking. The stem bearings are bad. The output shaft is bad. How you doing? It has got so much stuff that's bad on the bike. It's like, where do you go from here? How do you take it? So we're actually on the channel after I get done Robert's bike and Alvin's bike and Brian's bike. We have a few other bikes we have to do too. It's going to be back burner the Honda, but we're actually going to do a full assessment on the bike, and I'm going to show you guys because this bike right here is a vintage bike, and they are not cheap. The Honda Elsinore is a very expensive bike, and so it's going to be great to do a top end bike like that on the channel. And not to mention, it's a Honda and it's a two stroke. They're known for their four strokes, so this is pretty cool. I'm after the CT Trail. Yep, I got one of those too. I actually have a Silvertag CT70. So that was pretty cool, which I got from Harvey Spooner. We got to work on that. We get that thing, get the motor off, assess it, see what's going on, what happened with it. Back then, when those bikes went down, people didn't really have access to many, many metric bolts. So they typically crammed in SAE bolts, and it was awful. It's been awful. They have just really messed up this bike, and we have a lot of work to do, but it's going to be well worth it. Hey, Larry. It's just a great bike. So and we also have a lot of my stuff that I just haven't had a chance to do. We have the DS80, we have the DS100, we have my KE, my KM. We have a lot of them. How are you? Got my KD80 running, but bogging with throttle and misfiring out the carb. And your thoughts, man? Okay, thanks. Okay, so backfiring and popping out the carburetor is typically ignition timing. Typically, what happens with that is incorrect points gap. If the points are old, I would replace the points and condenser. That should take care of that. What do you call it there? Bogging on a carburetor. Let's talk about that because I've been getting a lot of people asking me about bogging lately. My bike bogs. Everybody's talking about bogs. Bog is a sign of a lean condition. All right, so let me show you guys a couple of things that can cause that bog. All right, there's many more, But I'm going to show you a couple of the most common things that can cause a bog. Bogging is so everything your bike does that is not normal. That's the bike telling you, hey, I got something going on here. You really need to stop and figure me out before I detonate or I have an issue. So a two-stroke engine is basically, it's got basically a and thank you for that. I appreciate that. Um, is basically a, uh, a precision machine. Okay, it's not like a four-stroke. A four-stroke, you can do some crazy stuff to a four-stroke that you can't to a two-stroke, but you can do different things to a two-stroke that you can't even think about doing to a four-stroke. One of the most common problems that I run into is people like the sound of the two-stroke. So what do they do to enhance this? They take the baffle out the exhaust. That means that the air flowing out the exhaust is faster than the air coming in. That creates a lean condition. Okay, you can't. Lean condition is bad. You want your bike more richer than leaner. Okay, I know, but you have to do it. You might like that sound. It sounds really badass with no baffle, but that's actually hurting your bike, and it causes the temperature to go up. It causes a lot of issues. It could cause melting on top of the piston. But I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. A DS80 carburetor, eBay, and well, I'll actually hold on 1 second on that, Scott. Let me finish off this first part. So, what was I saying? The boggin and all that. A couple of things that you want to make sure. Here we go. All right, so here is a carburetor. Yeah, I just happen to have the handy in my living room. no, I brought that in for this video because I did want to talk about this, but you beat me to it. So one of the things that can cause a bog or a hesitation is an incorrect float adjustment. Let me explain. So this is a bowl. Picture this as a cup of water, okay? And you are really thirsty. But your cup is only a quarter of the way full. When you drink your quarter of a cup of water, you're still going to be thirsty. Same thing with this bowl. If this bowl is not full to the proper height, your engine is still going to be thirsty for fuel. What controls how much fuel goes in this bowl? Well, I'll show you. That would be your float. Now, the float is nothing more than a liquid valve. Okay? So when the fuel fills up in the carburetor bowl, this moves up and closes off the valve. So that needle and seat that's right there in the center, in the gold, see that right there? The gold piece. You see right there? When I move it up and down, you're looking right. Let's see if I can show you. Right up inside here. You see it moving up and down. Okay. That is where the fuel comes in. So the fuel comes in through this port right here. Okay. It comes in, goes over, and comes down through the center of that right there, the needle and seat. It fills up in the bowl. I call these pontoons. It lifts the pontoons and shuts them off. Shuts off the fuel flow. What that does is that keeps the bowl full to where it's supposed to be, which is 4 millimeters from the gasket surface. Okay. Now, if you have an incorrectly adjusted float, it's going to shut it off prematurely. So there's not going to be much fuel in there. That main jet is sucking in fuel like crazy, and that could give you a bog, a hesitation, or anything like that. If it's adjusted the opposite direction and it has to go way up, well, then what could happen is fuel will overflow the bowl, go through this tube, and leak out the bottom. So if you have a leak under your bike and go, where the hell is all this fuel coming from? And then you take your cover off and you're looking at the carburetor and the carburetor is nice and dry, that's because this tube right here runs under your bike. And if you have a KE100 or a KD, it actually has a rubber piece at the bottom and it's leaking out through there and it looks like it's coming out the case. So that can cause you a hesitation and a bog. Also, if your jets are dirty or partially plugged, that can also cause that. So it's very important that you make sure that your jets are clean and clear. And to do that, as I show in all my videos, you unscrew the top, you hold it up to the light, and you'll be able to see the light through the jets. So hopefully that really helps you out with that. That's a very important thing. I actually did a video on that, showing that off. I don't think it's the right bowl for that carburetor. Okay, so what was it? So where can you get a new DS80 carburetor? You can go on eBay. You can go on a Suzuki DS80. You should be able to go on to what's that website? Partzilla, and get a replacement carburetor or something adequate enough to do that. Stay away from those Chinese carburetors that are way bigger that say they fit your bike. They get the flat slide. Not the Chinese carburetors. Chinese carburetors are good carburetors. I use them on all my bikes. But not the one that shows you like the PK30 and it says it fits your bike and the thing is like that big. You don't want that carburetor. Trust me, it's not going to work. Love your content. Keep it going. I can't watch this because I live in cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just answered the question. Perfect. Yeah, because now carburetors, ignition components, and stuff like this, you have to be very careful if you shop on eBay. And I've said this before, because eBay says they'll fit when they don't fit, or they'll say something stupid like if it's from a 50cc to a 125cc. That's a big difference. That's not going to happen. You're not going to find that. That's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. Just need to learn how to adjust the floats from you. I actually have a video on that. It might be under KE. The KE, the KM, and the KD all have the same setting. One of the cool things about that is the KD80 and the KM100 and the KD100, the MC1, the G3SS, the Trail Boss 100, the KV100, the KE100 are all part of the same engine family. And coincidentally, it's the same float adjustment for all those. So it's pretty cool. And I do have videos on float adjustments and carburetors. Check out my carburetor videos on the KE100s. And it's definitely in there. But to real quick reference on that, you can actually use a quarter. Yes, a quarter. I know. I said a quarter. It's true. You can reach in your pocket, pull out a quarter. And what you're going to do is you're going to turn your carburetor upside down like this. You're going to take your gasket off. Make sure you take your gasket off. Very important. You're going to put the carburetor right on that. The carburetor. I can't talk, guys. I'm sorry. A 25-cent quarter right here on that lip. And hold it up. And then the edge of the pontoon should be at the same height as the quarter. If it's not, what you're going to do is there's a little tab right there. See that tab in the middle? You're going to slightly bend that. And that right there will help you adjust to achieve that right height. And that's how you do it. Don't push down on them and adjust it. That right there could hurt the little seat. What you want to do is you want to hold the pontoon up a little bit. Use a small screwdriver. Gently pry it up. And then let it go until it relaxes. And then check your adjustment. Okay? You might have to do it a couple times. But it's okay. Just take your time with it. And you'll see which way you have to go. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate the live chat. The what do you call it there? I forgot what they call that. What do they call that anyway? I forgot what they call that. But thank you. Thank you. Super chat. That's what it's called. Thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. That helps me move up further whenever I get stuff like that, because it's a growing channel. And it's basically, this is it. So once again, guys, I just want to say you guys have been great. And I want to say to all my new subscribers, thank you. We have grown tremendously and we are growing. We're almost at 6,700 subscribers. And I can't even believe this. We're like 20 something away from 67. And so we're basically 200 620 subscribers away from 7,000. I am blown away. So it's amazing. I do have another video. I picked up a thatcher on the side of the road, and I'm going to be trying some different things. You can say hi. Go ahead.
Hi.
There's my goon. All right, stop doing that, buddy. You drooled all over me. Yeah, but you drooled all over me. But I did some small engine videos that I'm going to be posting as well. We also have a special guest that I'm going to be introducing to the channel. He's a fellow YouTuber on my channel and has been with me for a while now. And, watching the videos, subscribe early on. And his name is Dale. And I'm going to be shooting a video on that and introducing you guys to his channel. He's got a great channel. And he's just starting to grow. He's very young, so very young in the YouTube world. So we're going to have to get over there and give him some love and get him up to where he could start, monetizing his channel. Because he can't monetize it right now because he's not quite there yet. So we're going to have to help him with that. So yeah, give the quarter trick a try. It's amazing, and I'll tell you. You can keep it in your pocket. Who thought a quarter will work on this bike? But the KE100 is one of those great bikes. It was designed and built for simplistic mechanics. I mean, it's just a simple bike. I mean, there's nothing complex about it. I know what you guys are thinking. I say that because I'm a professional mechanic, and then you guys start working on your bikes. You're like, oh, this is complicated. I can't figure it out. But once I break it down for you guys, and many people have said on the channel, wow, you make it look so easy. And, I didn't know that. And that's what this channel is about, is getting your bikes up and running, blowing that smoke. And I bet you're going to have a smile on your face when you work on your own bike and you get it going. There is nothing greater than saying to somebody, hey, like my bike? Yeah, I do like your bike. That's a sweet bike, man. I fixed it. I'm your wingman. That's what I am. I'm your teacher. I'm your wingman. And we do this chat. I don't do it every Tuesday because I just don't have enough time or content or whatever the case may be to do it on every week. And I try to fit you guys all in. But, this is what we do. We talk bikes. We're a family. And that's what this channel is about. It's about learning, fixing, and getting you guys out there and turning 10mm wrenches with your own two hands. And that's what we do. So... And I also want to say once again, like Dave, thank you for all the support. The support means the world to me because I can't do this without you guys. And if I don't have subscribers, I don't have a channel. So I really, really appreciate that. And I don't do any funny things like Patreon accounts or anything like that. I actually toyed around with doing a, GoFundMe, but I don't even know how to do that. I want to do T-shirts, but I'm still trying to figure out that whole thing. That's complicated. That's not something easy. I do want to do some T-shirts. So I didn't get to do the bike rally that I wanted to do this year because of the whole COVID thing and everything's gone way out of whack. But I'm hoping to do something like that next year, next summer, and do something, get you guys out there and go for rides and stuff. I still haven't tried out my GoPro. I got a GoPro from a subscriber, sent me a GoPro, nice GoPro. I have it linked to it has no screen on the back of it, so I couldn't see what I was doing on. I downloaded the app, and now I can set it up on my bike and take you guys for bike rides with me, which would be super cool. But I got to figure out how to do that. So I'm still learning the technical. I am technical on bikes, but not on the computer. So I'm still working on that. So what's everybody working on? What do you guys got going on? What are you guys working on? Anybody doing anything inventive? Oh, and Brian, I did not. You don't want to use the transmission. I'm still working on the jug. You don't want to use that. The transmission I'm still working on. There's a couple of things that are a little off, but I'm actually going to go ahead and get a YZ transmission, because I need to see that for myself and do my own measurements. So that's in the works. I am going to pick up a YZ transmission. In fact, I didn't know you can get it so cheap on eBay. So not doing it anytime soon, But when we get into the bike, that's about the time I'll do it. So we'll figure that out. Um, and I don't even need a good one. I just need a bad one or something I just need measurements. So that's going to be a fun thing. I cannot wait. I know the gear ratios are different. I looked that up. They are different. But I got to make sure that they will fit in there and work with it. And I also want to see if the clutches are the same or if the YZ has a performance clutch versus the GT80. Sometimes bikes like that use the same clutch, but I just want to make sure. You know what I mean? So this type of mechanics is not experimental. This is how you learn. This is how I found out that a high compression head from one bike will fit onto a low compression motor. Excuse me, and make it a high performance motor. And also, too, guys, I got another great question from a subscriber, and I want to talk about that tonight. Octane fuel. The pump gas, the regular is like what 89 octane. Um, so I never use 89 octane in any of my bikes. I always go for the 93 or the performance octane. The hotter the more octane, the cooler the engine will run. The lower the octane, the hotter the engine will run. So you'll get better performance, better quality of ride with premium gas on a two-stroke than you would a four-stroke. A four-stroke really not going to notice a difference too much. I mean, you'll notice a little bit, but it's not going to be noticeable like you would on a two-stroke. So high octane, that's what you want. That's the way to go. High octane. Always go for high octane. So we got let's see, Robert's bike. We're going to be back on this week, and we're going to finish up Alvin's bike. We want to get that thing done. We do need to get an air filter for that. I'm having some issues finding an air filter, but not really that big of a problem because I did a video today and I showed you guys that the KE125 is similar to the 175, and coincidentally, they take the exact same air filter. So the purpose of that video was to show you guys that if you can't find an air filter for a KE125, it's the same filter for the KE175. Now you just took a narrow path of looking for parts and you greatly expanded it. You know what I mean? So now you have another window. Now if you can't find it in your family of bike, you can go to the other family of bike and get the part you need. Kind of like Brian's bike, he's got a GT80. Well, the sister to that bike is the MX80. I actually used to have a green one. Same exact bike, same frame, same motor, same exhaust, the exhaust different, but everything else is the same. Excuse me. But when you're buying parts, you really have to know the details. For instance, back on carburetors. These are the hearts of the whole thing. If I bought a carburetor from a GT80 and stuck it on my MX80, I'm going to have an issue because the exhaust baffles are different. One is set up for on-road, the GT, and the other one is set up for off-road, MX. And coincidentally, they take two different jets. So one of them will help the other one, but it will not work the opposite way. Here's what I mean. If I took an MX80 jet and put it in a GT80, I'm going to get more power. But if I put a GT jet into an MX80, I'm actually going to create a lean condition. And the purpose of that, the reason why it'll do that is because one of them has a freer flowing exhaust, the other one doesn't. But it'll make more power with the bigger jet. So, pretty cool. Is it worth the effort convert it into 12 volt? Personally, no, it's not. The 6-volt system is literally a bulletproof system. The 6-volt system, in fact, I did a video on trying to short out an ignition coil and short out the charge coil that's on there, and I couldn't do it. I mean, both of them still work fine with the direct load from DC 12-volt battery. And it was a heavy-duty battery. So, if 12-volt components have higher amperage. and they typically short out. So like CDI modules, typically if you have a bike that has CDI and you have no spark, that's most likely your problem is a CDI box or your ignition coil. The ignition coils really don't go on a KE100 because they're 6 volt. If you're going to change over, depends on your bike. Excuse me. If you have a KE100, they're two separate circuits. The ignition and the lighting are two totally different circuits. So, if you convert your KE100 over to 12 volts, then you can run all LED lights, and you'll be seeing it'll be brighter. That'll be worth it. Okay, so you have a 2000 KE100. Oh, that's actually a very good bike. It's CDI already, so you just have to add a charge coil and a different a regulator, light bulbs, and a battery. Personally, I wouldn't do it. I'm not doing it to any of my bikes except for the KE102 build. That's all 12 volt. But as for everything else, I'm keeping it all the same. I'm keeping all my bikes that are 6 volt, 6 volt. I did, however, convert them all over to CDI ignition. But there's literally nothing wrong with 6 volts. You can get LED lights for 6 volt. They make them now. So, I mean, that's all. Everything that you can do on 12 volt on your bike, you can do on 6 volt on these bikes now. So if you wanted to convert over to LEDs, if you wanted to put if you wanted to put on a gauge, the electronic gauge cluster, they literally make an adapter to boost it from 6 volts to 12 volts. And you could hook that up to the gauge cluster, and it would all work if you wanted to put digital gauges on. But realistically, I wouldn't touch it. I mean, I have had my KE100, my KM100, those are all 6 volt. And excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really tired. But they all work good. I literally have no issues with them. The batteries suck. Period. Get yourself an AGM battery. It's going to save you a whole lot. I had no idea. You could find 6 volt LEDs. A lot of times now, because a lot of people are doing car restoration. So, what do you call it there? They want to keep their old generator systems in the cars and stuff like that. They do make 6 volt LEDs. I know it's crazy, but they do. And they do last. So, you're going to be looking for part number for your directionals. They're going to be, what's it there? 1156 is single filament. And 1157 is for the brake light. So that's the double filament. Yeah, so you want the 1156 and the 1157. The headlight bulb is going to be a little harder. You're going to have to modify that, but you can. I actually did a video on that, on cutting the back of a headlight out, and I epoxied the back end of what the heck you call it there, a Yamaha Virago light, and I'm able to put replacement bulbs in them because the KE100 bulbs, they're crazy money. They're like $50-$60 for a headlight bulb. I mean, come on, let's be realistic. It's a headlight, but they don't make them no more in the 6 volt. So that's the downside to a 6 volt, is a very expensive headlight. But the batteries, the 12 volt battery, you can get those over at the hardware store, but I'd keep it 6 volt. You're very welcome. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, you can do that, and eventually I'm going to get some LEDs for my bike, and I'll do videos on all that. But I mean, the problem with stuff like this, you get your 6 volt systems, you get your oil injection. The problem with these bikes is people don't understand them, and when they don't understand something like that, they get intimidated and want to get away from it. And if you've been in my shoes, you understand the system, and it's really no different than a 12 volt system. It's just 6 volts less. So it really does. It is really nice. It really is. Like I said, I love mine. I haven't had any issues. So I would definitely keep it that way. But my KE102 build, that's going to be all 12 volts. I got 12 volt. Everything's LED on that. Totally modernized. What do you call it there? And the battery, you ready for this, guys? The battery that's going in my KE102 is actually a Milwaukee M12 battery for, the cordless drills I have. I've got a power adapter plug, and my battery fits right inside of it, and that's going to power my bike. It's going to be powered by Milwaukee M12. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, I'm keeping it all the rest of it's going to stay the same. But all the lighting is going to be LED 12 volt. The horns 12 volt, and pretty much that. And the generator, the alternator state of the magneto, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names for it. That's going to be all 12 volt. So that's pretty cool. So back on Robert's bike. So I got the tire off the back. There's a whole bunch of stuff. He sent me up a few more parts for the bike. We have a lot of stuff to do to that bike. That bike is such. Every time I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I got to take a step back because there's so much to take in on this bike with the details and all the fancy details on that bike. He's not doing a full restoration on the bike. He wants the bike put together. So we're going to be working on that again this week. Coming up, probably be doing some videos on that tomorrow. But tomorrow's videos coming up is going to be that the Thatcher I told you about, 5 horsepower the Thatcher. Let's give you like a little sneak peek about it. I picked it up on the side of the road. Guys had it set for like 30 years, and it wasn't running, so I got it running, and that's what we did on that. And he didn't want it back, so I was able to pick it up for free, and I had the part in stock, which that helps out when you have parts in stock. I got, what was some of the other questions? I got some other questions. Stem bearings. What's a stem bearing, and how do I tell if it's bad or not? The stem bearing is for your handlebars when you move them back and forth. They call those bearings up in there stem bearings. And coincidentally, my Elsinore 250 has bad stem bearings. I mean, there's the play back and forth. You can take them apart and grease them and clean them and all that. It's not worth it. Replace them. And when you take apart your bike, you're going to notice that the stem bearings in the bike are loose ball bearings. They're just 30 ball bearings on top, 30 down bottom, or 32. Some of them 32, some of them 30. And then you adjust them. You tighten them up so there's no up and down, and there's it's smooth, back and forth. I take those ball bearings out and I replace them with roll bearings, tapered roll bearings like wheel bearings. It's really the best way to go, and a company named All Balls makes those. So those right there are the bearings you're going to be using, and they're the best way to go. I love the All Balls bearings. I've been using them for a very long time. No issues. Very easy to install. And I'm very, very happy with them. Two-stroke Tuesdays. I have a Yamaha Raptor 660R and a VMAX 600cc twin. Does that count? That does count. We actually enjoy having other bikes, quads, snow machines, two strokes, and that's what we're here for, is to teach you and help you figure out what's going on with your bikes. So yeah, that does. And I mean, honestly, if you didn't even have a bike and you wanted to come in and say hi, I do have people who, text me, oh, I wanted to come onto the chat and say hi. I don't have a bike, but I watch the channel. I really like two strokes. They're all welcome too. I mean, this is a community of bikers. And when I say bikers, that extends to four-wheelers, quads, or whatever you want to have. I'll share a video on you. You're welcome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We like to share. If it's another YouTube channel, I don't share the other videos on there unless I review it first. I do have another another subscriber that I'll be sharing his videos tomorrow night, and his name is Dale, and he's a great guy, does great work, and he's into the resto. He does paint and all that type of stuff that I don't do on my channel, which is always nice to have because like we have Harvey Spooner, which is a great guy. He does the Honda four wheels. I don't really do Honda four wheels on my channel because he does it on his. Dale, he does restoration, paint. I mean, everything from paint to doing cases and everything else. So it's pretty cool. Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. So yeah, I mean that's really what that is about. So it is pretty neat. So we have a community, and that's where we come. And I do the live chats because that's what I can offer you guys, which is one of those things that I like to offer to you guys because, you know, sometimes it's just nice to talk about the bike as opposed to going through text. And you know, I have a question or I have this, I have that. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's hash it out and see what we can do. We'll see if we can get this thing fixed and at least point you in a direction that would help you achieve, you know, the goal. So I'm actually very excited about the growth of this channel. This channel has grown to it's just grown so much and it's helped so many people. And I've gotten so many comments and I mean you guys have just been amazing. Honestly. Just been great. So I really appreciate all the support. Once again, you guys have just been amazing. You guys keep coming with these questions, and you know I have a lot of people say, Kevin, I really have a stupid question, and it's really not a stupid question. No, there's no such thing as a stupid question because if you're thinking it, so ain't someone else. And if we can answer that question and help someone else, that's what we're about. So I did have another question. People asking me about parts. Can you have this part? Do you have that part? I do not sell parts. I am not a parts person. I do not sell them. I use those parts for my bike builds. And if I do sell a part, I post it in the forum on Facebook, the KE 100, the KM, the KD. Anything I post on there for sale will go into that point. There should be more people. Exactly. That's what this is. I didn't want to stop this channel, but I found an avenue that needed me for the KE, the KM, the KD. This whole channel is my son Michael's fault, and then I just enjoy doing it. I didn't think I was going to like it, to be honest with you, but I do. I love it, and the people, the support it has been amazing. I've had a few hiccups on the way, but nothing I couldn't overcome. And yeah, I mean, it's been nuts. People have been bringing bikes to me, and you know, it's. I wish I had more time to put into them, just because I have to work. YouTube doesn't really pay nothing. Hey, James, doesn't really pay nothing to work on them. So, like the super chats and all that type of stuff come in handy. I had a couple people who, you know, wanted to send me some money through PayPal and that sort of thing, which is awesome. That all helps grow, and I need to buy some, you know, some tools and stuff that I need for the channel. I do want to get a couple of engine stands for doing the bikes. I was talking to Dale about his, and I saw the one he has. So I'm like, yeah, that'd be really helpful. I've always done it old school way on a bench or on the ground. Um, but as I'm getting older and I want to, you know, take the channel to another level, I want to invest in the channel. I want to invest so you guys can see what I'm doing and get better photo, better, you know, better, more techie, I guess you'd call it, more techie. I want to get, you know, so you guys can see it. I've been watching some of the other channels and seeing how they do it. I've learned a lot of what to do and what not to do. So that really helps, you know, like camera angles and, you know, what they're, you know, trying to show what they're doing. So it's been crazy. This is not a glamorous channel. So it's not one of those channels where we go start to finish in 30 minutes and then that's it. The bike is done. We're off to something else. No, we take it step by step and we go piece by piece through the bike. And I'm teaching you guys. Literally, it's a teaching channel, so that helps. I am located in Massachusetts, northern. Northern part, almost into New Hampshire. So, yep, located in Massachusetts. I did was living in Maine for a while, and New Hampshire, and then we bought this house. So we're not going anywhere. We're staying here. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So it's really fun to be doing this too, teaching you guys and interacting with you guys. Get to talk with you guys on the day to day. So really, really awesome. Oh, cool. Yeah, Boston's like 32 minutes from here. So yeah, nice. I'm in Methuen. So Methuen, Mass. Yep, I go through Boston every other week. Hey, Dale. Yeah, my son Michael, he really helped out. I literally didn't want to do a YouTube channel, and when I was working on my bike, he said, "Oh, Dad, what are you working on?" I said, "I'm doing a clutch adjustment on a KE100," and you know what? Nobody was doing it. And then I started looking on YouTube, and nobody was doing anything for these bikes. They were just showing the bike. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Now we got it. We have a reason to start a YouTube channel, and it has paid off. It has. And then we start off with the KEs, the KMs, the KDs, and it's grown into so many more bikes, and has really helped so many other people out. It's just been nuts. Oh, nice. Me, good for you. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, Michigan. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Yeah, Arizona. I have family in Phoenix. That's cool. So yeah, I mean, it's we're a community, and that's what we do. I enjoy it. Dale, it's been amazing, and I can't wait to upload your video. That was cool, really really cool. And Dale is, like I said, he's got a great channel, and we're gonna get over there and give him some love, and we're gonna be doing that within a day or so, getting that video up, and it's pretty cool to have a community of bikers all over the place. So I'm here in Methuen. I get people all over the place. It's just amazing. I'm also on Instagram too, guys. Also on Instagram, Facebook. What do you call it there? Um, my Instagram has no politics. My I know my YouTube. My YouTube has no politics. My Facebook does, and I've been kicked off Facebook a bunch of times for it, but that's okay. Cool. Yes, definitely get over there and Dale Swager, DaleSwager. Get over there and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, so when he posts a video, you get it. And we're gonna be doing a video on him. He sent me a video about his channel, and I asked him to. I said, this guy's a great guy, and he does great work. Built a seat pan from scratch, and it came out amazing. So we're going to be, when someone does good work, here's the thing: if someone does great work and doing the same type of stuff you do, and my channel is growing now, I have a mentor myself. Would be what do you call Harvey Spooner. Harvey Spooner helped me when I got to that point. Kevin, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it's nice to be able to take that buck and pass it on to Dale. And definitely going to do that for him. You guys got to get over there. You got to subscribe. He does great work, and you're going to really. There we go. Oh, I lost everybody there for a minute. Sorry about that. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool. Definitely going to have to get over there. I don't know what's going on with my connection. I have like a third world connection here. It's just awful. Can you guys hear me all right? Because I just lost connection, and I don't know what's going on. I can't tell from there. We go. Okay, cool. Yep. So, yeah, definitely get over there and do that. We call it Dale. All right, cool, awesome. Thank you, Dale. Yeah, I just literally the connection just said no connection. I go. So it's pretty cool that you're able to help people out who do stuff like that. So Yeah, definitely do that. Get over there and give them that. Can't follow you on Facebook. Now, I'm not in Facebook jail yet, but I do have my Facebook is the politics, but you can go over to the groups, the KE100, KMD, KD80, all those. Just type in KE100, it'll pop up, and then you can ask to join. Type in what type of bike you have, because if you type in just the word yes, you'll get denied. It automatically denies them. Yeah, it's the internet. This computer that I'm on right now is a nightmare. I definitely need to get a camera that I can do it on the desktop. We have a brand new desktop, and we have an old bike. So, yes, the KE100. It says KE100, KD80, KD100, KM100. It's got a whole bunch of different. Let me see if I can. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick on my thing, so I don't want to mislead you. Okay, hold on one second. Boom, boom, boom. Groups.
Did I say bye?
Yeah, you can say bye. You going somewhere?
Bye.
Okay. All right. Nope. Not the KE1 riders. That is a good page to go to. I am actually part of that page as well. I'm not the admin or anything like that, but my page has all my bikes lined up on it. Now, if you can, no, you can't really see what the light. Yeah, but it's Kawasaki KE100, KM100, KD80M, KD100M, MC1, and KH100. And it's got all the bikes, and you'll see all my bikes lined right across the top. So there is that one. That is my page, and it's a pretty good one. So hopefully that helps you out right there with the group. And the cool thing is about that group too is some people sell things on there. Some people just have questions about their bikes. You can post them on there. We can talk through there. You can hit me up on Messenger, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot of ways to get in touch with me. I try to make sure that I'm always there for subscribers, and you can answer your questions, because these bikes, although they're simple, they can be complex. Do you ever work on Kawasaki 350 Bighorn? Well, I would love to get my hands on one to do on the channel. I have in the past, but I haven't recently within the last 5 years. But yeah, no, that'd be a cool bike. The Bighorn 350 is a great bike. It's a rare bike too, and it's a fun bike. That's the type of bike that when you hit the throttle, it'll hit you back. So be careful if you get on that bike and decide to hit the throttle, it will hit you back. You better hold on with two hands. I would highly recommend taking your seat cover off and putting Velcro on it, so you don't blow off the bike when you hit that throttle. So yeah, that's a great bike. I don't do anything. Oh, that's all right, James. You can hit me here. You can get me on whatchamacallit there, right on YouTube. So you can, if you have questions, feel free to ask. If you ask them in your videos, because when you ask them on the video, I actually get a whatchamacallit there, an alert that says, "Hey, so and so asked a question." Okay, what's the question? Boom. If I don't get right back to you, I will get back to you. In a reasonable amount of time. I try to anyway. What do you call it there? I'll be going back on Robert's bike this week. So yeah, it's a great place to ask questions. Ask them in the videos, because if you're asking that question, someone else is too, and that's what we're about. Yeah, we're going to be getting back on that bike. We have a lot to do to that bike. I got to grind and everything else, but everything's been crazy. I got a whole bunch of stuff all at once. We also have a TC120 engine to do after we do the KE100. We got Brian's bikes. I have a ton of bikes, a lot of work, and not much time doing it. So I'm trying to get that all in there. I have a 1979 Suzuki DS100. Nice bike. I got one too. I need a seat pan and a rear brake rod assembly, and second brake. A weld the metallic. Replace the rod. So hold on 1 second. Yeah, Suzuki, you need a seat pan, rear brake rod. The second version. No, I do it the way it is. I don't have any of those. I like I said, I don't sell parts, but I don't have any of those spare parts. I have a parts bike that I traded a motorcycle for, because they're just hard to find. I'm looking for a fuel tank, and I have a fuel tank that's Swiss cheese, and I have literally braised the ever living hell out of it, and I'm not done. So I have to get back on that tank. So I want to get that tank done before summer. Um, that was an awful, awful tank. That tank metal on that tank is junk. Um, Honestly, I think they leaked from the factory. They are that bad. But I do have a DS 100. Great bike. I can't wait to ride it. Mine's got the CDI. Well, they put I motors. It came with the motor that was on the frame and a motor that was beside it, and both motors didn't go to the bike. It was crazy what they did to this thing. The CDI ignition was in one. They put the CDI coil on a points ignition. Couldn't get the thing to go on. I got a bunch of videos on it, on getting it going and all that. But yeah, they're hard to find. Yeah, they are. They are awful, 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 awful. Yeah, I mean, geez, that tank was Swiss cheese. I cleaned it out with the acid washed the inside of the tank, checked it all out. Tank on the inside came out good. Once all the rust was gone, it was literally a religious tank. I mean, it was holy, and water was coming out of everywhere. So I got more brazen spots on that tank than you could shake a stick at. It was awful. Not very happy with that tank. Ooh, I got a Charlie horse. Not great. Hold on 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. I got a Charlie horse right in the leg. I'm like, oh my god, not now. But yeah, that tank was awful. I ended up, like I said, I got the extra motors. One of them was bored 40 over and had so much slop in the cylinder. Whoever bored it, I think they used a drill and one of those big hole saws, because this piston has got so much piston slap in it. There is no way they did that correctly. Or they bored it to one size and ordered the wrong piston, because I bet you I could put a 50 thousandths piston in that cylinder. I mean, there's just that much slap to it. And it's a fresh bore. So, I mean, still got the crosshatch pattern. So it ain't like it's worn out. They bored it and they bored it out incorrectly. It has 60 psi of compression. And the fact that it even has 60 is mind blowing, because there's that much slap. I can literally, with the piston at the top, I can look in the bore and see the gap. And it's just awful. It's just awful. I can't imagine what they were thinking when they did that. Like, oh, we messed up. Does the piston fit? Yeah, send it. It won't run. The motor won't run. The spare motor won't. But it's got a lot of good parts on it, so naturally I kept it. And it's got a new clutch, so I'll keep that for a spare for mine. I do have a DS80 motor that can use some parts. I have a what do you call it there? I got the carburetors and all that. So I really lucked out with it, but at the same respect, it's just parts. I think the early Suzuki tanks. Yeah, I think you're right. It's almost like they had pinholes and like, oh, we'll use some thick paint. That'll seal it. Because once you remove that paint, it's like, where the hell do all these holes come from? GT 175. That's first dirt bike.
Dad, are you going to watch that?
Nope, not yet. I'm just reading this. Oh, you got rid of it. Oh, you had me going there. I thought you had that for all those years. Be careful, because that bike could come back around. I sold a bike 13 years ago and just got it back. So my Honda CB350, I sold that when I moved back home from the White Mountains, and one night I'm sitting here at the house like a month or two ago, and all of a sudden it pops up on Marketplace, untouched, the same way I sold it. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I got to have this bike back. It was one of those moments where I just stood up, and yeah, so you'd be surprised what comes back around. You really will. Yeah, and there's like a ton of leaks. It's awful. It's almost like they use like a lead-based paint or something. I'm not going to try eating it or anything like that. But it's one of those things when you strip the paint off, the paint comes off, and it's just Swiss cheese. Yeah, thank you, Dale. Yeah, no, that literally made my day. I almost cried. I almost cried when I got the bike back. I mean, I said to the guy, so he said $500. I said no problem. I just want my bike back. I told him the story at like 11:30 at night, and I'm like, I gotta have that bike back. And so I said to my sister, here's the order. What's gonna happen? When I see my bike, I'm gonna give it a hug. Then I'll give you the money. And that's really what happened. I walked right over to the bike, threw my arms around that tank, and I'm like, "Oh my baby!" And then I reloaded it up, and it has been amazing. And I got the bike running, and I can't wait to register and ride it majestically. And people are like, "What? You want 354? You got an 1100." Yeah, I do have an 1100, but that 350 started it all. Those directionals, I made all four of them light up. Well, years later, I did that same wiring to my we call it the Yamaha Virago 1100. So all four lights come on like a car, and then the side blinks as it's supposed to. And I did that to all my bikes ever since I did that one. It just as a tribute to this bike. I mean, I got my permit on this thing, so it's awesome. Oh wow, gone for 10 years. Yeah, mine was gone for 13. Lucky number 13, and then I got it back. So keep your eyes open. You might get that back in 3 more years. You never know. Awesome. Thank you, Phoenix. That's awesome. That means a lot. I appreciate when this is, like I said, this is a community. And being part of this community is helping one another fix their bikes and stuff like that. And what you're going to find on Dale's channel is a lot of restoration stuff. He literally goes through. He did a video on a magneto, and he was putting the wires back on. And he had the identification wire there. It's got the stripes on it. The wire that he got it was in a different way, but it still identified it. And he put that in there right in the sleeve. Did an amazing job, and it came out great. He built a seat pan from scratch, to literally just like the one that he had a problem with. So there is a lot of good videos that he does. He talks about putting things back together. You can see how clean everything is. I mean, he literally spends his time cleaning each individual piece and restoring it back to its original factory. I do repairs. He does restoration. Okay. And it's just amazing, some of the work. And he showed, I'm not going to spoil for you. You're going to see some of the stuff, and you're going to really like it. It's really good craftsmanship, good work. And so I'm very honored and able to show him on this channel. So this is awesome. That would be cool. We're going to wrap the street legal. There you go. It is, yeah. C-pans can be a huge pain in the butt, especially if you're not a patient person. When you're trying to make something, you literally don't have a schematic. Your schematic is in your head and your vision, so you got to look and see how it is. Okay, what do I got to do next? Come up with a game plan, fit the pieces, mend the pieces, and weld the pieces, and that takes a special talent. So that's exactly. Yeah, he has a nice, beautiful shop, nice lot of equipment, and he's able to do that type of stuff. So it's really, really super cool. Really, really super cool. I'm very happy to be able to share this on the channel. This is an honor for me to give back, and this is me giving back like Harvey Spooner gave me and helped me grow my channel on his channel by doing videos and stuff like that. And we're going to have that same relationship with Dale, and get him to the point where he's monetized and can start being able to put money into his projects through YouTube. That's really what it comes down to, is growing a channel, building a channel, and helping more people. And it's funny because I thought this channel was cool when we first started doing the channel. Yeah, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. And then I started toying with the fact of doing live chats like we're doing now. And I'm like, oh, this was really super cool. And then I got a couple of comments in some of my videos, like love from Pakistan, love from India, and from these other countries. And someone said to me, Kevin, you helped me fix my bike. And I said, well, where are you from? I'm from the UK. And I got to thinking, I am fixing bikes around the world using this platform. And this is growing to that point. This is what's happening. We're reaching people all over the world. If we can get people off their couches and out in the shop, or out in the garage, or out in the driveway, whatever, turning 10mm wrenches, we're doing something. We're getting people off social media, and we're getting people to use their own two hands and fixing bikes and creating something beautiful. And some of these bikes have real stories behind them. Belong to my grandfather, belong to my uncle. He passed away, blah, blah, blah. And they left these bikes to me behind, and I didn't want to get rid of them because they loved them. And now they're able to get these old bikes back up and running. And it's not just the thrill of hearing this thing just come to life. It's part of the history behind it, the sentimental value. And a loved one was on this bike, riding this bike. You remember this bike was part of that person, and now you have that same experience. It's just amazing. It's just really amazing. So it's pretty cool. Harvey Spooner, I know he's good. Yeah, he is good people. He's been amazing. I got a few bikes from him. He's got a few bikes from me, and we swap and trade and everything else. So it's really super cool. It's really, really super cool. Well, a 360 head fit 400 DT. I honestly don't know. That part I really don't. What you would have to do is so whenever you're looking at a bike, okay, 350 versus 400, they are very close, but you have to look and see the way the exhaust comes up. So that video I just did on the 125 to 175 KE, the head bolt pattern is the same. It would bolt on, but the problem is the way the exhaust comes up past the coolant fins. Sometimes those get in the way, and then the head won't fit. So you want to make sure you got the. So one of the tricks to find out if the head bolting pattern is, look at the head gaskets. Typically, they would have the same part number. So you would go on, like, say, Partzilla, look up the head gasket for your 350, and then look up the head gasket for the 400, and compare the part numbers. I bet you'll find they're the same. Then you'll know that the head would mount on. Okay, if the head gasket works, the head bolt pattern is the same. Then we have to physically look at the, what is over the head. Is the exhaust on the side of it, or does it go over it? If it goes over it, are any of the fins cut to make clearance for it? Like like Brian's GT80 has a groove cut in it. So he sent me up a high compression head. I actually have to cut that like I did on mine, because I put a high compression head on my GT80. And people are like, you can do that? Oh, absolutely. So you really have to look at the physical and what's around it. I'm not really too familiar with the 400 DT. The 360, yes, you want to definitely compare them to. If the bike is on the same format, you might find that it's the same exact head, like on the KM100 and the KD80, it's the same head. So You're like, oh, I put a KM100. Someone said that to me one day. They go, I put a KM100 head on my KD80. It's the same head, you know. So things like that, where it's like, you have to really look at it and see what the combustion chamber is, because if the combustion chamber is the same, but the physical appearance of it is different, it wouldn't be worth replacing. So if you're going to go from a high compression head or a low compression head to a high compression head, that would be worth it. But you got to make sure they're interchangeable. Yeah, some heads are drilled out for a second plug. That's basically for the racing circuit. What would happen is the bike would follow out a plug. They take the coil wire, plop it onto the other one. Some people utilize that second spark plug hole for a decompression valve if they put a high compression head with a pop up piston, and it really has a lot of squeeze to it. You can have like 200 pounds of compression. Um, so they put the decompression valve in there and make it a little easier to kick over. But Dad started off working on stuff when I was riding young. As he started for 3 years old, and it would be TV. He's still looking ride. Working with Dad. Oh, that's cool. But in the shop, it'll be 3 October. Nice. My birthday's also in October. October 2nd. Yeah, I mean you can send a head out, and what they'll do is they'll cut back some of the coolant fin and drill the hole for the second spark plug. You can do that with the factory head. You don't need to get a different head. There's all kinds of machinists that can do that for you. In the 70s, Kawasaki made a range of rotary valve engines. Yes, they did. Yep. Yeah, because a lot of people don't understand the rotary valve. Um, a lot of that rotary valve technology has been lost in the generations, and everybody keeps up with the newer stuff. Everything's KX and CR and all that. You want to make sure that you know what you're talking about when you're talking about a rotary valve engine, because there literally is no support for these bikes. It's mind-boggling, Robert, when nobody, all the people who used to do these, it's just they're either gone or they just don't care anymore. So when I was doing this channel, I saw an opportunity to really, help and be part of this community of two strokers, and so yeah, it's awesome. So thank you. God bless you too. I mean, it really is a blessing to share my knowledge with you guys. What would be a good? Would be a good? Yeah. Well, yep. Oh, October 22nd. Yep. Nice. Yeah, the Honda 250. Man, that's a good bike. I had a one. What the hell? I had a CB 175, 185. I think it was. Definitely. Thank you. I've been doing it since I was 10 years old, and it's just amazing that I'm able to share this with the world. Like 20 years ago, I would never thought of this. I would never thought that was going to even happen. So it's amazing to be able to do that. To share with you guys and teach you guys and bring you along for these crazy adventures. From first look to will it start, and these videos, everything in between of how I get these bikes to this point. And I mean, the people you see, Mike, when he came up to pick up his bike, I mean, he was just ecstatic. He loved it. He was just over the moon on it. Same thing with Aaron. When he got his bike and he saw what I did to his bike to get his bike back to running condition. I mean, that bike ran strong and good. Yeah. Thank you, Dale. Yep, it's been a great trip, and I can't wait to see what keeps happening. That's the thing with YouTube; you never know what's going to happen. 1 minute you're trying to get subscribers, next minute you guys are pouring in, and then we're just taking off, and as the channel grows, it just, it's growing not just up but out, I mean, all over the world. I mean, it's just mind blowing. So it's awesome. 75 Kawasaki G5 under throttle. It sounds like a coil under the gas. Oh, you just sent me that message. I just got that too, by the way. Um, so what I would do in that case to find out what's arcing, I would literally take the tank off the bike. I would look for any arcing, see if you see it hitting the fuel tank at all. Fill the fuel line up with fuel, and start that bike up in a dark area and make sure you have ventilation. You don't want to do it with the doors closed. Make sure it's vented, because carbon monoxide will kill you. But you want to make sure that the lights are out and see if you see any arcing or anything that might be. It might not be an arc. It could be two pieces of metal touching, and that could sound like an arc. So make sure you do that, because I mean, if your coil's arcing under your fuel tank, that's dangerous, especially if your tank decided to spring a leak or so. You don't want to play with that. You make sure that you fill the fuel line with fuel, and then hold it up, start the bike, and look for ignition sources or any type of arcing. Look for signs of arcing too. It'll look like little like splatter marks, like it's welding or something. You'll see like witness marks where it's been arcing. Look around the coil. You'll see like a carbon track, they call it. Might be something, if it's been going on for a little while, you'll see a carbon track. Make sure if you find that and it's the coil, replace your coil. Don't mess with it, even if it's working. Take it off the bike, throw it away. What I tell people to do if something like that happens, it happened to my Virago. Take a hammer, put it right through the coil, throw it in the trash so nobody else can use it. Because people do find them in the trash and, look at that, that's the coil I'm looking for. Nope, destroy it, throw it away. Yeah. Thank you, Phoenix. I'm just amazed at how many folks still interested. Yeah, I mean, Dale, I'm the same. I'm right with you. I thought it was a dying breed, but I'm vastly approaching 6,700 subscribers. I have 1.4 million views, and yeah, there's a lot of interest in these bikes. I can tell you that. I promise you, there's a lot of interest, and we are growing. In fact, let me just give you this real quick, guys, while I have you here. The way this channel has been growing has been unbelievable, and the support has been amazing. Okay, so I am at right now 1,406,471 views. That's a lot of views. That is crazy, and it's amazing at the same time. It's crazy and amazing at the same time. It's just amazing. I never thought that this channel would even get anywhere near that, and it has. And look at where we are now. So we're gonna have to step it up, And I think next year, doing some T-shirts and some hats, and maybe some key rings and stuff. Some stickers or something. Like I'm out. I always sign off my channel. That's my signature thing. I'm out. And then boom, something like that. Maybe some pictures of the bikes. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Maybe some pistons and crosses or whatever, stuff like that. So there's a lot of potential to grow in this channel, and it's just been like I said, amazing, just amazing. I use the compression release not to start the big horn easier, but to break it. Yeah, you shouldn't do that when you're braking. What that does is that puts excess stress on the piston rings and cause them prematurely to wear out. So be careful of using the engine for braking. I tell people it's not a truck. So use the brakes. I know it's a powerful bike. I'd rather replace brakes than a top end. And because basically what happens is you're using the compression to slow the bike down. And that puts a strain on the connecting rod bearing, the wrist pin. that wrist pin is actually in a plastic cage, and it's under immense stress as it is. When you put it through like engine braking, now you're putting a heavy load on top of an engine that's already pumping out horsepower. So engine braking, I would highly recommend not using, not doing. It does hurt two strokes. Not so much on a four stroke because it's got the valves, but on a two stroke where it doesn't have the release. Um, and if you hold that open, now you're letting excess air in there, so that could also cause it to burn up too. You could cause a lean condition doing that. That right there would simulate when you open up that valve. That's the equivalent of having a leaky head gasket. So just make sure you do that when you're running the bike. It actually is not a good thing to do that with. Appreciate the tips. Thank you. Lisa. Yep, there you go. You're welcome. Finish everything. Awesome. Bulgarians. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. There is understanding the fundamentals of these two strokes. They're definitely a totally different animal than a four stroke. A four stroke is something that is simple because we can relate to our cars. We can't relate to a two stroke car. And we just don't have that ability. It's just they're totally different things. What you think would be okay in a four stroke to go ahead and do it on a two stroke are two totally different things. Like removing a baffle. If you remove the baffle on a four stroke, it's going to sound better, and it might even give you more power. But if you do that on a two stroke, you can create a lean condition and burn up your motor because it needs it. When on sorry, I'm doing my live chat. When you have an air filter and you put no, stop doing that.
I'm trying to say hi.
No, that's not how you say hi. Let me do this, please. When you remove an air filter assembly, a cover, and you run the bike without no cover on it, that right there can hurt the bike because now you get too much air flowing through. It needs that restriction. It needs the restriction to make sure it's pulling enough fuel into the engine because it's like how would I put it? It's literally like a cutting torch. When you're adjusting a cutting torch, you adjust the cutting torch lean, so you get less acetylene, more oxygen, and that allows you to cut through steel. Well, it's the same thing. When you take that air filter cover off, you're introducing more oxygen, and the main jet can only pull in so much fuel. So what happens is it creates a lean condition. What does lean do? It overheats the top of the piston and can literally burn a hole right through it. It's awful. Totally awful. Do you know why there's a sweep hole in the upper left engine? Oh, let me read it again. Do you know why there's a weep towards the top? That's a vent. That right there, the weep hole on those is for venting. Sometimes they do because it has to. When all those gears are spinning in there, it builds up pressure and it has to escape, and that's what that's for. The whole section in the back, right where the top motor mount is. If that's what you talk about, there's like a little square hole right there. That right there is. If you look on my video, I actually did a video on the case. Some have it on the chain side, but some have them in the back. And that right there is to get rid of the excess. On the DS80. Yep, that's the same thing. It's on. They put it on that side. So, like I said, when the engine's spinning, it's building up pressure, and it has to be able to let that pressure out. How you doing? It has to let that pressure out, and so it goes all through that hole. I changed my factory airplane for Canon. Do I have to change the jetting? The Canon air filter, I would, well, how to put it? The Canon air filter flows a lot more air through the than a factory one. So technically, you might want to go up a jet. But I think there's enough restriction there, so you don't really have to. The Canon air filter is kind of like the exception, because because I have the oh, which one do I have on mine? I have the UNI filter on mine. So it's basically the equivalent of that, and I didn't have to go up a jet. It is a better flowing filter. However, it allows you to go up a jet. So, like mine had a 77.5 jet, and the 2000 takes an 80. I went to the 80. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna put the 80 jet in there, and it's kind of like a little bit of an insurance policy when you do that. So when you put the bigger jet in there, it gives you a little bit more richer and allows you to flow more fuel to go with that nice air and gives you a little bit more horsepower. Yes, correct. Okay, because I drain the oil and yeah. So there you go. That's it. Yep, that's it. Perfect. I like it when things come together and you guys get your questions answered. That's what we're about. We want to make sure we do that. Get the questions, get the answers done. Man, I'm telling you, there's kind of all kinds of little quirks about these bikes. And the Suzukis and the Kawasaki's and the Yamahas and the Hondas all have their own little special things. Like the I noticed on the KE 175, the bottom motor mount, there's a lot of things on that Kawasaki that are like Suzuki. So it's like, that's pretty interesting how they do that. Yeah, no, absolutely. And sometimes what I do with the live feeds is I try to do them on different days, not just two-stroke Tuesdays or wheelie Wednesdays, full throttle Fridays, certain days like that. Because I like to make sure that everybody has a chance to be on a live chat. What do you call it there? The live chats help out a lot of people, and we get questions answered, and it's a great time to hang out for an hour or two. We do 7:30 to 9 o'clock, so what? A couple hours. I don't know. Replace the points. Clean. Two-stroke. All right, so what did you say, Dylan? Okay, right on. I replaced the points. The cob looks clean and added some two-stroke oil to make sure it was getting oil. And that's when it started acting up. Okay, well, I think we might just found a problem. You just said you added oil. Did you add the oil to your fuel mix? Because if you add it to your fuel mix and your oil pump is pumping, now you're getting too much oil. And that can cause the bike to run kind of funky. That can follow the plug or semi-follow the plug. And what I mean by semi-follow plug is if you have way too much oil in your oil mix, what will happen is the engine will skip. It'll have it could have a hesitation, and it's not like a lean condition hesitation. It's a skipping. Let me tell you something about the oil pumps. The Mikuni oil pump found in the KEs, the KDs, all the Mikuni, all the Mikuni oil pumps, which have been through pretty much every manufacturer. Yamaha uses their own, but the Mikuni one has been around for a very, very long time, and literally is a great pump. And when it does fail, if you watch my yellow bike video, it over oils. And that's what happens when it fails. So I would seriously, suggest to you, make sure it's bled out, and you can look at the clear line going up to you over by your carburetor. You'll see it going up to a banjo fitting. If that line is full of oil and there's no air bubbles in there and it's just a straight solid oil thing, your oil pump is working. And you put too much oil in, you put it in with the mix, and then you have your pump pumping at the same time. That's two streams of oil going into one part fuel, and that right there would cause that problem. I have a KE 100, but the neutral light won't work even if it lines up. Do you know what this is? Could be the bulb. I would check the bulb. Or you can use a test light. So what you're going to do is a multimeter, ground the ground on the frame, touch the little tab in neutral, and see if you have a reading. Doesn't matter what the reading is. Just see if it goes from 0 when you click it to neutral, See if it moves up. If it comes on and it shows you beeps, then your switch is good. Could be the light bulb. So yeah, I would probably check my bulb first. That'd be you know you gotta think you have a KE100, so who knows how long that bulb has been in there for. If the bike is 2001, you're talking it's been in there for 20 years. If it's older than that, say it's like a 90s bike, it's been in there for, what, 30, 40 years, or 30 years. I'm not good with math. And it's like, sorry. But, it's been in it for an extremely long period of time. So you definitely want to check that bulb first. Bulbs on these bikes do burn out. Like any bulb. It's just that's where I'd start. All right, put a new bulb in it. All right, so I would check the switch down bottom. So if you don't know where your switch is, if you take off your magneto cover, you'll see your sprocket for your chain. Right next to the sprocket is a little black thing. It's got 2 bolts and 1 green wire going up to it. That green wire is your neutral safety light. So what you can do, you unplug that, hook your multimeter onto that and onto the frame, and then see if you get a reading. If you don't, shift the bike into neutral. If you still don't have a reading, take the cover off. There's a little tab in there. It probably broke or bent or twisted. That makes total sense. You should not plug in. Yep. So that could be your whole problem. It could just be over oil, too much oil. And I would start there. And if you have too much oil in there, that could also cause the baffle in the back to clog up in the exhaust. And if that clogs up, it's going to be clogged up with soot, and then that's going to give you hesitation, bog, and all that. It's just going to have a hard time going. And can make your bike feel like there's another problem. It'll mess with your head because you're like, it feels, right now when I'm riding the bike, it feels like a carburetor problem. But a minute ago, like at the gas station, it felt like I was, I stopped to get a drink. It felt like it was spark. Oh my God, what is it? You know what I mean? And what it is you did something you thought was a good thing because you're getting, extra oil. Like, why not? But if it's getting too much oil, that would cause those problems, those symptoms. So always revert back to where the bike should be. And like I said, take that cover off, check that oil line, and that's a great indicator. And one of the things that I do on all my bikes now, I still have to change a few of them over, but I now use clear line going from the oil tank to the oil pump. This shows me that the oil pump is getting oil. It's like a gauge, but without the meter, So you'll be able to see the oil going, you'll see the clear line. I use blue, and you can see how the line is full. I'm like, oh, okay. So the oil pump is getting oil. If your oil pump is getting oil, it's working. And obviously, you want to monitor your level. So I have a half tank rule. When the oil tank gets to half, I don't even care about the window. I don't even use the window. Every time I put gas in my bike, I check my oil. Always. Every single time. Even if I just filled up. After I did that because I have a lot of bikes and it'd be hard to think about, did I check this oil already? No, check them every time. And the other thing with the oil, one of the most common problems that would destroy your bike and stop the oil pump from pumping is the vent tube that comes off the top of the oil tank. And I've said this on a bazillion of my videos. I don't have a bazillion videos. I have almost 800. But you guys get the point. That there's like this little insect that makes a nest inside there. It's like dirt. That right there clogs up that line. That line can't breathe. And if that line can't breathe, it's going to suck the oil pump dry. That right there you always want to make sure is clear. Check it all the time. The tube coming off. I also have been changing that tube to a clear one. It's typically a black tube. I take that off. I put a clear one on there for the vent tube. It's the best way to go. That way you can see if you're getting what's going on. Drain the gas. Yep. Yes, thank you. Great advice. You're very welcome, Scott. So, James, if you put a power jet in the cab, what would be a good idea to bump up the. No, nope, because what's happening is your bike is going to automatically adjust your oil pump. Your oil pump is going to go by your RPMs. So the faster that bike spins, the more oil is going to go into that bike. It's automatically like that. Power jets are recommended if you're doing performance upgrades to the bike, like porting and that sort of thing, like a high compression head. If you have a factory engine and you put a power jet on it, you're probably not going to really like the outcome of that. It's not going to be what you expect. So power jets is something I use on bikes that I port. Um, Although my KE is ported, but I don't use it on there. And I'm going to be doing a full video on porting because there's a lot of really bad messaging on the internet right now about porting, and these people are taking off so much material, and there's no way that carburetor could fill that void. So I'm gonna fix the porting part when you see how I do it. You can be like, oh, this makes perfect sense, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm doing it the way I am and how to do it. Oh, you're very welcome, Dale. Thank you. You're welcome, James. Got done right. The KE, the light is not working. Excellent. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Yeah, so check out those sensor for us. I'm just reading the comments over here, so I don't make sure I make sure I don't miss anything. Cool. I'm gonna try it again tomorrow. Thank you very much. You're very welcome, Dylan. That was my next question. All right, perfect. Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to make sure that you guys get the proper information, because if you port an engine wrong, okay, or you take off too much in the wrong spots, you can actually rob horsepower by incorrectly porting a head or a jug. Okay, so you want to make sure you're doing these things properly. There is a science to it, and it's not so much just flow, like opening up. It's more of a flow factor. You can literally just do a couple little modifications to the chambers and get some serious power out of them. You like noticeable throttle response, and whenever you port, you have to jet. So it's going to be a whole series on porting and jetting and making this bike perform the way, like the way you feel it should perform. Because when you're putting this type of work into a bike and you hit the throttle and it's just a little bit more than you had originally, you're like, I spent all that time working on this bike, porting this bike, making this bike, and this thing's a piece of crap. You know what I mean? So I want to teach you guys the fundamentals and the correct way of doing it, because, like I said, it's not about taking off too much material, like taking off a lot of material. It's more of taking what I have, changing a few things, making sure that the flow, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it. In fact, it's not a two-stroke, it's a four-stroke thing. But if you look at David Vizard, okay, he's an old timer who's been doing, not motorcycles, but cars and trucks and performance engines, racing engines, and he ports cylinder heads, and he can explain it a little bit better than I can. He's talking about car cylinder heads. I know what I'm talking about is totally different, but the principles are basically the same. It's not so much taking off as much as you can and making the biggest port. Remember, bigger is not always better. Okay? Sometimes it's just a little, you might have something in the way of the flow. It's about knowing how the fuel and air have to flow into the cylinder. It's more than just going up the top of the cylinder and into the ports. It's more than that. So what we're going to do is show you guys how to port it to get that, so that the flow is more of a smoother flow, is more of a more power charge, if you will. That's really what we're looking at, is the power charge, kind of like the power jet. You want to get that power charge, and then We can feed on that. We can say, okay, we got that type of power. Now we got that type of porting. We can now feed the engine more. One of the most common mistakes anybody does to any motor, whether it be two-stroke or four-stroke, the first thing they do is they take their factory little carb off, and they get this colossal carburetor that they see on eBay, and it's all shiny, and some of them have like a rainbow color to them, like a oxidization to them, and it's a performance carburetor, and it's got a power jet. It's just a flat slide with chrome, and it is a shiny piece. I mean, you're looking at it like, wow, that is a beautiful carburetor. And then they slap that thing on there. They take their bike out, and they're going, my bike runs like crap. That's a brand new carburetor. They didn't do anything other than put that carburetor on there. It's not gonna. You have to be able, if whatever you do on any motor, doesn't mean two-stroke or four-stroke. Whatever you do something to a motor, there's always something else that has to be done. For instance, if you remove, well, we'll take the Predator engine, the 212 motor. People automatically take the governor off, and they throw the governor away, and then they wonder why the RPMs are so high, and then they just lost their motor. Because now you took the governor off, you're overspeeding the engine, but you didn't change your valve springs. So now one of the valves made contact because they float. They made contact with the piston, and now there's no power. Whatever you do something, for every action, there's a reaction. Okay, if an engine's resting, it's gonna want to stay resting. If an engine's awake, it wants to remain awake. So you have to feed on all the negatives and positives, like a battery. Batteries have a negative and a positive side. Everything you do to your bike has the exact same thing. If you port the cylinder, you have to jet the carburetor. If you remove a baffle, you have to jet the carburetor. Everything you do to the bike to alter it, you may have to jet the carburetor. Does jetting the carburetor is the worst thing in the world? No, it's actually not. What it's going to do is going to take all your performance upgrades and it's going to complement them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you're wearing that nice suit and you're like, this suit's missing something. You know what you need? You need that nice chrome tie clip, and that sets it off just nice. Or the little flower in the pocket just sets it off just nicely. Same thing. Everything on these bikes have to complement each other. If you're tuning the carburetor, and the engine is, the exhaust is clogged, it's going to give you that same thing. You have to make sure that everything's working the way it is. And whenever you're working on a bike, before you do any performance upgrades, you want to make sure that the integrity of the motor is good and that the bike is running absolute perfect the way it should be running, like it was in the factory. That is got to be your starting point. Then from there, you can document what you changed. What did I do? If you change too many things at once, you're going to get lost. Do one thing at a time. Make sure you complement them. With the OEM Kawasaki G5 fuel valve, the screen and the filter built shit. I still use it. You can. The inline screen is literally a screen. A filter has a filter medium. The filter is going to protect more than the screen. Some particles will get past that screen. I personally, I do it. I put an inline filter in if you can. Just it's a better material. It's got the paper filter like you find in a car, an automotive style. You want to use the small one. You can get that at the lawn and garden section. And I've used those Chinese ones too, and those were good. You can get like a 10-pack. I think it's for like $4, $4 or $5. So, and those actually work pretty well. I've had pretty good luck with them. And, if your tank is clean on the inside and it really looks nice and you're using pump gas, right from the pump, not out of a 5-gallon bucket, you don't have to run a filter. You could just use the ones that are on the petcock. But if you're running it from a gas can, I would seriously consider getting it in line. I plan on putting the bike back factory first. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Take the engine temps, see what the bike is performing at, see where the bike is happy. Get the bike to its happy spot first, then you can do the modifications. Exactly. Yeah, bring it back to factory.
Yeah.
That's your starting point. Then go from your starting point and go out. So, well, guys, it's 9:05, so I'm gonna have to end the chat. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you for all the great questions, and it's been a fun time. We had a really great chat tonight. You can say good night. Go ahead.
Bye.
You just headbutted my subscriber. So, what?
Bye, everybody.
So anyway, guys, I just want to say once again, thank you guys very, very much for hanging out with me, and for subscribing and sharing the channel. All the thumbs up. It's been amazing, and I can't get over how much this channel is growing. So it's oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome, and just keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep those questions coming, and definitely get over and check out Dale's Wegger's channel. We're gonna be doing a video on that, like I said. So definitely get over there, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and then this is gonna be awesome. So I just want to say thank you guys once again. We're almost at 6,700 subscribers. I'm just, so Phoenix says good night, buddy.
Good night.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you again. I'm out.
Good one.